All right, welcome everybody. We're going to be learning about sound cues today. So there's actually a newer system for doing sounds than sound cues called metasounds, but we're not learning that today. Today we are learning sound cues. So this is a game I made for Game Jam a couple years ago, I think at this point. And it's got this music playing, right? And there is something in sounds called attenuation. Attenuation means that as you get further away from a sound, the sound will fade away. That's like basic attenuation. But you can have other kinds of attenuation where, like, you can hear the bass coming in through like a wall, but you lose the highs and the mids. So like right now, I don't know if McKinney, are you hearing this on the recording? There's like some club beats going on. And so the upstairs area up here is a club. And it's mostly the bass that's coming through. Fades in and out. Yeah. And then, let's see if I can turn the volume up. Then we come up here. And it gets a little bit louder. Get up to the top. It's much louder, and you also have the highs coming in. We drop out. You can hear the attenuation again, where it clips the highs and the mids out, and again you hear the bass. So that's kind of what we're going to be learning today. When you import a WAV file, it just comes in as a sound, and you get a WAV file kind of like this, and it's just a standard. That's what you get when you import a WAV. Unreal Engine doesn't really support many audio file formats. Just always try to import things as a WAV, a WAV file. Then once you have something like that, once you have something like that, that's the zombie death sound. Once you have something like that, you can right click on it and choose create cue out of it. And so basically, I almost never use like a standard just boring WAV file whenever I'm doing a game. I always turn it into a cue first. And you just right click on a WAV file and choose create cue like this. And then I can call this like death cue. Death cab for QTs. Save it. And you can see it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same by default. But you can double click on the cue and you can open it up. And by default, it just plays the WAV file. Okay? You do something like turn on looping. And then it'll never stop, which is probably annoying for a death sound like that. But today we're going to do both one-shot sounds like this and also like looping sounds like background music and stuff like that. So this is your default sound cue. It's kind of boring. The first thing I typically do with one of these things is add in a modulator. You just drag these things out like this. And the modulator is going to give you a little bit of variety in the sound effects. So you're not always hearing the same exact pitch and volume every time, which gets very repetitive and tiresome to our ears. So by default, it'll vary the pitch up and down 5% and the volume up and down 5%. So it goes up a little bit, goes down a little bit. We can exaggerate this quite a bit. Very low, higher, higher, And so, you know, the default's okay. Maybe making it 10%. Maybe makes it a little bit more interesting. And also having different volumes is also super useful as well, especially if you have a repetitive sound like footsteps or gun bullets. It's usually nice to have the bullets hitting at a slightly different pitch every time, just to keep things interesting. Now, there is all sorts of other things you can add to it. A delay node will delay it, you know. An oscillator will oscillate it. But doing something like a concatenator is kind of interesting too. And so concatenator, you know, let's see the modulator in here. The concatenator allows you to do something like have two different sounds play in sequence with each other. So if we come back into here and yeah, sure, we'll drag that one in. You can have the first sound play and then the second sound play. And that's nice. And so what I have for my club mix is I have it actually play one of the tracks a couple times, and then it moves to the next track, which loops a couple times. And then that whole thing loops, and so it goes back, and so you can actually have it cycle through a sequence of sounds, and they never stop overall, but they do mix it up so you don't just keep hearing the same track over and over again. Mixer allows you to have two sounds play at the same time. We do this. Let's not do a concatenator. Like that. Q. Why not? Now you can hear the humming of the whatever this is playing over the death sound for the zombie. Okay. So you can add different sounds playing on top of each other. Concatenator means they play after each other. You play a random sound. That's really useful. I think we've done that before for like footsteps and things like that. You can pick a random sound to play. Envelope allows you to mess with the frequencies that come out of it if you've ever done audio engineering and stuff like that. But we're going to talk about attenuation. So attenuation is this, and with nothing selected, you can choose override attenuation, and you can see this thing called attenuation settings. And you'll see that I've already got an attenuation setting here, but if you don't have one, you can create a new one. And this one will be called, inside of the build directory, inside of the sounds directory, so we call death note. How about that? Okay. And then we browse over to it, over here. And then when we open it up, let's go ahead and save everything. When we open it up, you can see that there's all sorts of interesting options for doing attenuation. So with that off, you get nothing, right? But you can choose it for how the sound falls off over distance, linear attenuation, inverse, log, you know, whatever. And attenuation shape is sphere, means the thing gets softer in all directions. You can choose other shapes as well. The inner radius is the radius that you get full volume at. So this death sound will play at full volume when you're within 4 meters of it. And once you're more than 36 meters away, you hear nothing. Spatialization means that the sound is going to be in space. I don't know a better way of putting that. But like if, let's say the guy dies over there and I turn my head to the right, I'm going to hear it out of my right speaker, my right ear. And then if I turn my head to the left, I'm going to hear it out of my left speaker. And so just leave that on. Air absorption is kind of interesting, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So you can have the air itself cut off higher frequency notes and things like that, so that as like you go through a wall or as you go through air and things like that, then you can have different frequencies make it through to you, creating that club effect. One of my favorite effects of this in a video game is in Mass Effect, where you go in Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2 to different nightclubs. When you're outside of the nightclub, you just hear the bass pumping. And then when you walk in, all of a sudden, the whole music hits you. And it's not like it stops the music and starts another music. It's the music. It's just using, well, they didn't write it in Unreal Engine, but some trick like this where they're filtering out the high notes and just giving you the bass. And by messing with these high pass and low pass filters, you can choose which frequencies make it to the player, and it sounds really cool. Like it's a really neat effect. Reverb, occlusion. So basically, can you see the sound? You know, and sure. So there's filter here. And so basically, by doing this, you can have like walls absorb music and things like that as well. And then basically, when you're back in the sound cue, you can just attach your attenuation to it here. And then when the zombies die, let me get rid of this. I don't really like that. Okay, yeah, I'll pull that one in, I guess. So it's going to mix those two together. It's going to modulate. I guess that's fine. Okay. Save. And then when the zombies die, so where's my zombie BP main character? BP is on a zombie anim BP. Let's see here. Where is my actual main blueprint for it? Zombie. Okay. Sure. Nope, that is a skeletal mesh. Where is the actual blueprint? There it is. Okay. So when he dies, right now it's just playing sound at location. And we're going to replace this with the sound cue that we just made, which we called death cue. You can see it mix those two things together. Okay. And because we're going to be at a location, you got spatialization, things like that. Okay. So compile, save, and once it saves, play it. Uh-oh. It broke something. To T-pose to show dominance. You can hear that sound cue is playing, and it's spatialized and has attenuation and all the other stuff. So that is what did I do to that? It's like I opened up the skeleton and I like, oh, I'll fix that later. And so that's a sound cue. Now the second part of what I want to go over today is keep it in, just having everybody T-posing. Fine. I don't have time to fix it right now anyway. So the other thing I want to show you is like how to do like a background music kind of thing. It's like you can make it so that like when you enter a specific area, like let's put together a little house over here or something. So I'm gonna go into terrain mode and we'll go and flatten this. All right, Nav. All right, have fun with that. Just gonna flatten this down a little bit because I'm gonna put a little house here. Bog Ross can just make a little happy little house, and we'll spray paint some foliage. Yeah, whatever. It's gonna be a house. Okay, place actors. Just gonna put. Just gonna put together a little simple little house here. I have to slow my camera down again. It's a happy little house. Yeah, maybe I'll just use the geometry brushes. You guys know that now. Geometry, do a box, and make it. Pretty big? Maybe too big. Too big. Sure, there we go. And we'll throw some materials on it. Make it walnut. Let's see here. Select everything. Walnut. Okay, and then I'm going to drag out another box and make this box subtractive. Move it down, move it in, scale it. And give it a little floor and whatever. Point of this is in the house. Okay. Point of this is like doing a soundtrack kind of thing. Okay. So one question I get asked a lot is like, how do you stop a sound, right? And one of the downsides to using the play sound node is that you can't stop it. Like once you've triggered it here, once you've done play sound, like it's gonna go until it finishes, which is fine for a small like I'm dead, Willem scream kind of thing. But it is not very useful for soundtracks that you want to like stop and start. Like, oh, there's combat music, combat's over, stop it, play a victory fanfare, that kind of thing. So play sound at location is good for short things, not great for long things. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it so that when you walk into this comfortable house that we're gonna pretend we have in our imagination here, let's widen this out a little bit. More house-like instead of the Arc de Triomphe. More of a house than a tunnel. Sure, why not? Okay, so we're gonna make it so when we walk in, it's gonna play some music. Then when we leave, it stops the music. So you can have, you know, like a theme for your village or whatever. Okay. So first thing we need to do is get some background music, which I should have something. Have something for this. Assets, fantasy art, music, music 2, soundtracks, not so scary zombie pack, scary zombie pack. Let's do soundtracks. Why not? Black Sails Audio, Jotun Dark Fantasy, Alien Voices, Cold Case, Electric Spells, Underworld, The Vanishing of Elizabeth Rose. Oh, what appeals to you, McKinney? A Story of Life and Death, Volume 2. The Joke Audio. The Dark Side Audio. What, 29th Planet. Spooky sounding? Okay. A Story of Life and Death. Let's try that one, maybe. 7-zip. Extract. See, these are all assets that I've bought over the years. I've spent quite a lot of money. Not a lot of money, because these are like humble bundles, but it's like $20 and it gives you like 10 different CDs of music you can use. The one in the Eclipse, seamless, so that means it's probably going to loop without there being an audible, you know, cut between the beginning and the end. So the one in the Eclipse, let's try that one. And let's play it using Winamp, yes. Let's play it using Windows Media Player, I guess. I like that. Sure. Sick. All right. So I'm going to go back into my sounds directory. I'm going to pull in the one in the Eclipse like that. And it is a WAV file, of course. And then I come up here and hit Save All. Jeez. Yeah, all of these things just got broken, huh? I am not connected to source control. I'm sorry. That Perforce server is gone. Run without source control. Thank you. Okay. And then the does not want to save. That's so annoying. Okay, well, save. How about that? Great. Okay. Right click. I'm going to create a queue using it. And this will be called like BG music underscore queue. And for this one, I might, because it's background music, I might want to reduce its sound a little bit. But you know, we probably want this looping. Let's import one more. Let's get one more in here, so that I can kind of show you what it looks like when you have multiple things. Dawn of a New Day. Let's try this one. Yeah, that one loops also. Okay, so let me pull that one in, and then we will save this as well, and we will pull that also into our queue. So if we set this guy to be looping, it'll just loop forever, but we don't exactly want that. So what we want is a concatenator, and so we're going to do this one first. We'll do this one second. If I wanted, I could pull more tracks in. You know, why not? Let's do one more. Ode, Undying Love, Ode to My Love, in this time, Seamless. Let's try this one. Not quite as epic as the other ones. Maybe Ode to My Love. Sounds pretty good. All right. So I'll drag Ode to My Love in also. Yeah. Another input here, and the output of that will go there. Okay, so basically what we have right now is we have 3 different tracks, and I could keep doing this as much as I wanted. Align left, please, thank you. And basically it's going to play one of the tracks, and it'll play the other track, and it'll play the other track, and then it'll be done. But we want it actually to like loop, and I actually want this, I think. Because these tracks kind of like loop into themselves. So we're going to have it loop once and then go into here. So basically, I like the fact that it connects to itself, you know? Like the beginning of the sound and the end of the sound are the same. I kind of like that. So we're going to have these guys loop one time, and then it'll move on to the next track. So it's going to loop once. So you get that connecting, ending and beginning, like Numa by Tool. The end is the beginning. And then once it finishes 2 of these, 2 of these, 2 of these, it's going to end. And we don't want that. So I'm going to add a looping node here, like this. And then this one is going to loop indefinitely. So once it gets to the end of the 3rd track, the 2nd time, then it's going to go back up to the 1st track and do that again. I'm not going to have any modulator on it. And I kind of don't want this spatial at all. I don't want any attenuation on it, because this is background music. This is just music that just plays out of your speakers. So I am not going to, yeah, the volume, I guess, is fine. Okay, I guess this is fine. All right. So that's how you can set up like background music. And it's only going to play, when we're in this house. It's going to be kind of boring because it's going to take like 10 minutes to play through the whole thing or something. Maybe I don't like this house anymore. Maybe I don't like you. Maybe we'll just make it like switch. Like when you get to this area over here, I'm going to make a giant trigger box. So like when you get close to this giant building here, it's going to switch audio. That seems a little bit more interesting, because I don't want to stand to that box for like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? So I'm going to come up to here. I'm going to make a new blueprint class that's an actor. And I'm going to name it BG Music BP. Like that. And this guy is going to have a full blueprint editor here. So I'm going to add a box trigger to it. A box collision to it, and this will be the sound zone. I don't know. I don't have any good names for you. And it's just going to default to like 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter, so that when the editor puts it into the world, they can scale it up to wherever they want it to go. There's not going to be any visible elements to it. So what we're going to have here is when they begin overlapping it, we are going to play the sound. And so, where the sounds here, and BG music. So, yeah. And BG music. Okay. So when they do that, instead of play sound 2D, what we're going to do is spawn sound. Okay, so let me show you the difference. That's play sound 2D. We're going to do spawn sound 2D. Okay, They're very similar, but there's one important difference. And that difference is this creates an object that you can save. And then when somebody leaves, you can stop it, or you can pause it, or you can do whatever you want with it. So we've been using play sound before. Now we're going to do spawn sound. Okay. And we're going to do the background music cue that we just created there. We can adjust all these different things here. We'll just see how the volume sounds, I guess, first. And so when somebody begins overlapping, we're going to start it. And then this here, we're going to promote to a variable. And yeah, we have to make sure that doesn't exist yet. Okay, so this variable is going to become our thing called background music. I don't know, BG music, something like that. And so what we can do is something like this, like is valid. Validated get. Let's convert to a validated get. Okay, so what we're doing is the very first time somebody enters, if it doesn't exist, then we're going to spawn it and set it. Okay, so if the very first time we enter this area, it's going to spawn the sound. After that, all we're ever going to do is either pause the music when we leave or resume the music when we come back in. Okay, so when we end overlap, on actor end overlap, nope. Event actor end overlap, thank you. Then what we're going to do is we're going to use this, and we're just going to say pause, set pause, is paused, set paused to be true. Okay. So when the person walks away, we pause the music, and when they come back in, if the thing already exists, then we are going to... Actually, we already have a get here, don't we? Okay. That one, and then we will just duplicate this up here. So, spaghetti. Okay, so to follow the code of what's happening here, the first time a player enters the zone, the BG music's not going to be set. And so it's going to be invalid, so that will create the object and save it. And that will play the music as well. And then when they leave the zone, it's going to grab that variable and pause it. If they re-enter the zone, it's going to grab that variable and unpause it. So that should be that. So coming back up to here, and we have the BG music zone here. We'll set the scale to 50 meters by 50 meters by 50 meters, and sort of encompass maybe 80, 80, like that. Camera speed. Yeah, so like maybe a little bit bigger, 100 meters. Yeah, so like when you're near this area, it is going to start the music, and then when you leave, it should end. Play. Oh my gosh. Keep dozing. So terrible. What happened? Okay, so we're gonna come over here. Once we get close. Now we've got some cool background music going on here. We've got our door that we built last time, which fades ashes. Look at these guys T-posing at me. It's ridiculous. All right. away. Come back. Huh. Must have stopped it somehow. Stopped. Resumed. Stopped. Resumed. Okay. So, I wonder if it's on the same channel or something like that. Yeah, that's the basic idea. So, when you enter the area, it plays it. When you leave the area, it ends. You can do other things with it as well. Audio, spawn dial. Let's see. Audio components, audio. Why is that? Audio. Oh, that's what. Okay. Okay. So fade it in, fade it out, which we should probably also do, right? Right, because right now it just cuts off, right? So we should probably fade it in. Just attenuation settings. Hit play on it. Hit stop on it. Kind of has the same effect here. Adjust the pitch on it, that kind of stuff. So you can kind of control, the settings of the audio, when you have an audio object like this. Whereas before, when you just did play sound, it fires and forgets. It just plays the sound. You can't stop it. You can't do anything with it. So this is kind of the better way of doing that, especially for long-lasting sounds. And that is our lecture for today. So what I'd like to see you guys do is import some music, find some free music on the interwebs, and have some background music playing when you enter an area, and then when you leave the area, stop it, just like I had here. Okay. So that is it for today, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.